All right, welcome back to part 2 of our Dragon Ball Sagas rankings, where we just talk about why we like and don't like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
We went through our bottom 5 last time. I think we still have our top 6 is ahead of us.
Well, bottom 4 actually.
4?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I guess so. I miscounted. It's all good. Anyway, my next arc that I already said it. I already said it in the last one. It's the Roshi Tournament 1 arc.
Yeah.
At this point, it still felt like an adventure. I really love that Goku knows that Roshi trained his grandfather, so naturally he would want to get stronger from the same man. We introduce Krillin, which is fantastic.
Krillin.
I feel like the humor with Roshi is pervy at this point, but it hasn't crossed a line quite yet. There's a little bit with Launch, but it's not too bad. Because Launch is so oblivious, and he never really does anything, if I recall.
Yeah.
Except puts her in lingerie with the rest of them.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's ridiculous that Roshi, Krillin, and Goku are also in lingerie.
Yeah.
I really love all the training that Roshi puts them through, because
it's fun.
It's really fun. Them gardening, them swimming through shark-infested waters,
tying them to the tree and hitting a hornet's nest,
delivering milk,
yeah,
it's fun stuff.
And farming with their bare hands.
Yeah, it's kind of this Karate Kid-esque, like they don't realize they're training. You get the first kind of look at power levels, but not, because Roshi times how fast they can run.
Yeah. And
Roshi does his run. He's like, oh, that's as fast as I went. I'm getting old, kind of thing. It's really fun. I like running through the forest to find the rock and all that stuff.
Yeah. This also has probably my favorite joke in all of Dragon Ball.
Which one's that?
It's during Krillin's fight with Jackie Chun.
Mm-hmm.
And they're standing off, and then there's there's just the flash, and Krillin falls down, and the other martial artists are like, whoa, and the announcer's like, okay, time out. Can you
slow that down for us?
Yeah, and this whole ridiculous thing happens where it's
I was like this, and then I spit in his face like.
yeah. It was so I was going for this punch, but we kept doing the same things, so we decided to play rock paper scissors for it.
Yeah, that's a good bit. I really like that. It's probably the only tournament arc that I can remember every single fighter in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got Monster Beast, Giran, Nam, Ranfan, Bacterian, Jackie Chun, Yamcha, Krillin, and Goku.
Where's Nam?
I said Nam.
Oh, you did?
After Monster Beast Giran.
Okay, fair enough. I find it really weird how they brought him back as the final bad guy of Super.
What?
Yeah, Monster Beast Giran.
Oh. I don't like you. It's fun. You see, I love the idea of why Roshi entered the tournament with Goku and Krillin. Even though it's super obvious that he's Jackie Chan, and Yamcha's slowly figuring it out, but then he's like, no, look over there, there's Master Roshi, and it's just Nam in a beard and sunglasses. No, he got really tan all of a sudden, didn't he? It's got really funny fights. It's got interesting techniques. It's got, the next time you see the Great Ape, Roshi blows up the moon for the first time. And
there was also the great argument about if Giran bringing gum is a weapon, or if, since he brought it inside his body, if it counts.
Because that's why Goku uses the Nimbus to fly back.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, technically it's part of nature, so we're not going to disqualify him, but he can't use it again.
Yeah.
And then he flies back with his tail during the Roshi fight, which he never does again. Basically, the whole Jackie Chun Goku fight is probably, even though it's a little slow by especially by Z standards, It's probably one of my favorite fights in the entire franchise. And yeah, no, that's honestly about it. Plus I think it has the first beam struggle. It doesn't last very long. It's more an explosion on impact, but it's the first time you see 2 Kamehameha waves launching at each other, and then they explode.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a good time. It's a good time had by all.
So keeping with the theme of tournaments, my number 7 is actually the 3rd tournament, Piccolo Jr.
I feel like I can see why, but yeah.
At this point, I don't have a whole lot of negative to say about any of the arcs going forward. Okay, maybe that's not true, but
I at least know what you mean.
Yeah, but I have a lot more positive to say than I did about.
It starts to become what positives outshine the other positives versus like why the negatives drag this one down.
Yeah. And ultimately what I think drags this one down is that Piccolo Jr. I don't think is a great villain.
He is definitely piggybacking off the fact that he's a villain because King Piccolo is a villain.
Yeah, and he's just very keen to follow the rules. That villain, him.
He doesn't try to like assassinate Goku in like the back or anything.
No. And he keeps his identity secret because he doesn't want to scare people off too quickly. And then when he does, he's like, "Hey, I'm King Piccolo and I'm gonna destroy this place. You all better run. Better make sure I don't hurt anyone else."
It is kind of odd, isn't it?
And
I never considered this one time in my life.
And then he loses by ring out, and he accepts it.
At that point, he's so beaten down, though. Like, he's not fighting anymore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's by a ring out, but only because Goku says it's by a ring out. He's like, is he out of the ring? Like, Goku is so determined to win a tournament finally, because it's his 3rd go. He's lost by technicalities both times.
Yeah.
Because the first time, he just doesn't stand up and say the words fast enough.
Yeah.
And then second time, he hits a car and hits the ground first.
Yeah.
So, like, he's just so determined to win. He doesn't care that this is the reincarnation of King Piccolo. Like, obviously he cares, but what he really wants is to actually win the tournament.
Yeah.
Which I think is endearing.
Yamcha almost gets a cool moment. The spirit
Yamcha
ball
almost gets a lot of cool moments.
Yeah, the spirit ball is a really cool technique for Yamcha.
It is, and unfortunately, it really doesn't get a chance to shine anywhere. Nope. He uses it in the Tree of Might, and it does nothing. Yeah. Again.
I was kind of disappointed that Yajirobe didn't really get into the tournament itself.
Yeah, but they had to make cuts.
Yeah.
And I guess General Tao... Mercenary Tao, I'm sorry, was more important. Which, to be fair, is a good character moment for Tien.
Yeah, it's a great character moment for Tien. I absolutely love that fight.
Mm-hmm. And I also like that it's Chaozu he defeats to get into the tournament, essentially. Yeah. And basically the only reason he didn't kill Chaozu was so he could kill Tien in the ring. Yeah. He didn't care about winning the tournament. He just wanted a chance to kill Tien.
More on Toriyama hating Chaozu there, though. Like, Chaozu gets knocked out and he's like, "Oh, poor Chaozu. You go to the hospital and rest up. Bye!"
What even is a Chaozu? Why does Chaozu exist? To give... Really, why does... Like, here's another bald person for Krillin to fight. Oh no!
I mean, to be fair...
He has a hair!
To be fair, that was really funny.
It's a pretty funny moment, yeah. Basically, Chaozu is there to, I feel like, make Tien look better. Yeah. In more ways than one, because Chaozu is crippling Krillin or Goku in the ring, and Tien has to say, "Stop! I want to fight him fair," and then Tien lets Goku get a few good punches in. Yeah. Basically, Chaozu is there to make Krillin. I keep saying Krillin. Goku Tien look good. There's a lot of characters in Dragon Ball.
There is.
But few that matter.
Yeah. And Fighters is actually running short on them now. Yeah. That's why they got to Roshi.
Roshi's cool. I like Roshi.
Yeah. But yeah, for the dub, I actually really like how the new voices were introduced.
It works well.
Yeah, it does. I this is sort of the start of the excuse me, of Goku's characterization that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like from here to the Frieza arc. That's easily my favorite characterization of him. The I will give that the fight against Piccolo was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Krillin was able to bow out gracefully against Piccolo Jr.
Yeah, but the fight is still good, and it makes, like, Piccolo kind of starts to realize, like, oh, wow, actually these people are tough. Like,
yeah.
I might have to try, kind of thing. Like, not that he isn't trying, but, like, he realizes that this is going to be harder than he thinks it is.
Although there are also some really silly moments in the Piccolo Jr. fight with Goku.
Of course there are. There's...
Also,
it's Dragon Ball, like...
Yeah. Also, this was also definitely a turning point for the anime, and it was in the anime, Piccolo ripping off his own arm, shockingly violent.
And the blood is red at that point.
Yeah, and it's just like an explosion of blood, and it's like, Jesus. Dragon Ball has never been this violent before.
Every once in a while, they pull out the blood, and it's like, but why? I like the characterization between Kami and Piccolo during this. It's brief, but it's good.
Yeah, Kami's introduction was good, but it also kind of felt like
it peters.
Yeah, it felt like man, this would have been even better last arc.
Yeah, because you don't see a lot of Kami. Basically, Goku's there to be told that he's going to be trained by Kami, and you see some training with Popo, and then Kami says, all right, now your real training begins, and you don't see any of it.
Yeah, to be fair, that's because the manga doesn't show any of it.
No, I know, but it would have been nice to have a little bit of filler in a and like to like show something. I mean, I get that you're not supposed to see how much Goku has improved, because at first the characters don't even recognize him. Yeah,
and I really like the reveal of Goku's weighted clothing.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. And the anime also helps by there's the scene of like the night before where Goku and Krillin are sharing the room. Goku is still wearing his weighted clothes in bed.
Oh, I think I remember that actually.
Yeah. Like I remember seeing that. Like, that's cool. That's a cool touch.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good moments in this. It's a brief arc.
Yeah.
It was one of those I think we briefly considered it being part of the King Piccolo arc, but we're like, it's more of its own thing.
Yeah,
it's short, but it's its own thing.
Yeah, and it's a tournament arc and all, and it's kind of a good stopping place for the original Dragon Ball before the big tonal shift.
I will say there's about 7 to 10 episodes after this that everybody just kind of forgets about.
I actually like those episodes.
I think they're okay. I like that they kind of bring it back to a little bit of like the mystical stuff before it goes into hardcore sci-fi for a while. I use hardcore lightly, but Dragon Ball Z instantly takes a shift.
Yeah.
Even this was basically that middle ground, and I love the age up thing because you see Goku get older through it all.
Yeah.
But it's subtle if you're watching the whole thing. But then all of a sudden, oh wow, they really are older, and when you go back, that's when you kind of start to see the progression.
Yeah.
Like Goku growing a neck, for one thing.
I also I have a friend who hasn't really watched much anime, and she is Swedish, so Dragon Ball never really had much of a presence there. So I actually sat her down and watched all of Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z Kai, and so it was interesting to see her reactions to it all, and she really liked Ox King, so she was happy with the with Goku marrying Chi-Chi, because it's like, all right, more Ox King.
Then there's no more Ox King.
Yeah.
He shows up occasionally in Z just to be like, I brought more books for Gohan.
Yeah, it's worth it though because his grandpa outfit is great.
Well, you see his grandpa outfit essentially at the end of Dragon Ball. He's already in that. And he's in this burning castle. Like, you have to save the wedding dress.
Yeah.
I like that there's a little bit more of Goku being like that young adult after the Majunior bit.
Yeah, and having an adventure with Goku and Chi-Chi, so they have to build
that
up
is
a little
nice.
more stuff between them.
It's hard to call it a fight, but the fight between Chi-Chi and Goku resulting in like a wedding being in the ring is nice. It's a good arc. I really like it.
It's a good arc.
Yeah.
But definitely I feel the weakest tournament.
I understand that, but obviously, seeing as I haven't listed it yet, it's my strongest tournament, obviously.
God, Steven, I can't believe you have a different opinion from me. I thought we were friends.
Well, this one will like hurt you a little bit, possibly. My next arc is the Buu Saga. Yeah. I wanted to kind of put this higher because I love the Great Saiyaman stuff. I really like Videl. I like seeing Gohan become a teacher to Videl and Goten.
Yeah.
I love the tournament, the little bit that we see. And I love the fight between Goku and Vegeta. It's iconic, and when you watch it, you can't help but hear AC/DC TNT in the background.
Yeah, Goku and Vegeta have two really great fights in this series. How about that?
They really do, and they surprisingly both end up with Goku not beating Vegeta.
Yeah.
Goku, I don't think has ever actually beat Vegeta.
Nope.
Despite the fact that Vegeta seems to think he has.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it took all of in the first one, it took all the Z Fighters to bring Vegeta down finally.
Yeah.
Goku was a big proponent of it, but then in the Majin Vegeta maybe Vegeta doesn't count it because it was on borrowed power.
Yeah.
Kind of like in, I keep bringing back to Super, where Goku hates that he's using the Super Saiyan God form for the first time.
Yeah.
Because he didn't earn it. It's not his power. So, like, he likes that he's fighting, but he hates how he's fighting.
Yeah.
Back to the Buu Saga. The direness from trying to stop Buu is really good.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. Buu feels like such a threat.
Yeah. This looming, you don't know what's going to happen. And honestly, it's a pretty good reveal that it's this childlike marshmallow man jumping around, like, realizing he can float, essentially.
Yeah, and it honestly makes him even more intimidating. Like, one of the most...
It does.
There are some scary stuff in Z. I think that one of the most horrifying is when he pulls off a bit of his own flesh and wraps Vegeta in it, and is just like as he's like punching Vegeta in the and like breaking his ribs, and Vegeta's like screaming and bleeding out his mouth. It's like,
there's a lot of like unsettling stuff with it. Let's see. Super Saiyan 3 Goku has a pretty good introduction that really does nothing. Fusion is a cool idea that really does nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that what Buu does is also fusion to some extent. So I wonder if that's why the Fusion Saga lasts so long.
Yeah.
But I guess it kind of ends at Vegeta, so I don't know if that argument holds up. Buu wipes out a ton of people, which is crazy. Like, yes, Cell does it, but it's on like a person by person basis in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas
Buu kills literally
the
everyone.
Planet.
Yeah, literally everyone except Mr. Satan
and Tien.
And Tien,
who they tried to give a moment that amounts to nothing. I think he blasts one energy blast from killing somebody, and he's standing there all epically, and then he just gets his butt absolutely annihilated.
Yeah, it was clear after the Cell Saga that Toriyama was like, I'm done with Tien, go away.
It was definitely clear by that point, but it's actually pretty evident after the Saiyan Saga.
Yeah.
Like, Tien gets one more moment, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's a cool moment.
Yeah, but... Yeah,
that a lot of people remember.
Yeah, it's clear there, but in the Cell Saga, he literally... Like, Toriyama just kind of outright uses him as a mouthpiece. You will never see me again.
Yeah. The Goku and Vegeta versus Kid Buu fight is really creative. And it has impressive choreography, all that good stuff. It's also the first time Spirit Bomb actually works in canon.
Yeah.
Because he uses it Goku uses it a few times, but it never defeats the enemy. So,
while it was pretty much the thing that did Vegeta in, to be fair.
Yes, but it doesn't, like, Vegeta still gets up.
Yeah.
And it, like, he uses it, a bigger one against Frieza, and Frieza still gets up.
Yeah.
And then finally he uses it against Kid Buu and it works. At that point, unfortunately, because of the movies, Spirit Bomb by that time feels like a trope.
Yeah.
But in canon, it's not.
Yeah, the movies in GT have definitely cheapened Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. And I don't hold GT cheapening Spirit Bomb against this one by any...
Yeah.
In fact, I actually praise this Spirit Bomb in retrospect.
This is definitely the best Spirit Bomb.
Because it's also a moment, like, you see a lot of faces you haven't seen in a long time. Even if it's just brief. You see Android 17. You see Ader and Suno. I don't know how the mayor of that town is still alive after all this. But like, you see him, too. You see Upa and his father.
Toa, I believe?
I don't think it's Toa. I don't know. We'll figure it out later.
But this is also easily the most iconic Spirit Bomb, you know?
It is.
Like how many times have you been like, oh man, that sucks, man. Here, let me share my energy with you.
For real.
And I raise my arms.
And it's nice that also, like, Goku calls out to them, and yes, a lot of people do give their energy.
Yeah.
But it's not until Mr. Satan says, I'm your hero! Listen to me! But in a way that he's not sounding arrogant, he's using it because he knows that Goku's the one that has to win. Like, he knows he's powerless in this situation.
Yeah, Mr. Satan has a really good arc.
He has a fantastic arc in this. This arc, this Buu Saga, is why people love Mr. Satan. It's not because of the Cell Saga.
Absolutely not.
He's a joke in that, and when you first see him appear again in this saga, you're like, oh god, no. Not him again. And then you find out he's Videl's father, and you're like, oh, please, no.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. I'm trying not to get too much into my feelings on it, because, you know, I don't want to overtake you too much.
I have to get into why I don't like this arc now.
All right.
Gotenks is insufferable. Gotenks is never good.
I can't argue with that.
Gotenks has never been a good character once. He has a cool introduction that is instantly belittled by his Saiyan pride.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's a stupid child.
Yeah.
Gohan gets shafted so hard in this arc. He does. And, like, I know why, because Toriyama was like, I can't write for Gohan, I just don't know how to do it. Goku has to be the hero.
Yeah.
And, like, so I can't fault it too hard, but they also bring him back in to be really powerful, to be wasted.
Yeah.
To basically just make Buu stronger.
Yeah.
Which is neat, but if you like Gohan, it's really disappointing.
It is. Which is a shame, because the start of this arc does so much work to make Gohan so likable.
And then he shows up and has his cocky Saiyan attitude, which, to be fair, is introduced at Super Saiyan 2 in the Cell Saga. But it doesn't feel like he's young at that point. Gohan has learned, and everybody is dead.
Yeah.
Literally everybody's dead, and he's just like, oh, I'll toy around with you, Boo. And, like, then he absorbs Gotenks, and it's like, oh, wow, I really messed up. It's like, y'all think? Yeah. What were you thinking? Yeah. You already did this with Cell. It almost costed you, and you just do it again? It's horrid. I hate it. Yeah. I'm not, like, Gohan used to be, like, my favorite character. Piccolo is now, and he probably will be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I still like Gohan, and it's just, it hurts.
Yeah, so much work put into the tone of this arc and all that, and then it's kind of killed with how Gotenks and how Gohan act in this part of the story. Like, this part of the story really does drag down the rest of it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's the part a lot of people remember.
Yeah.
Vegito is cool, but it amounts to not very much. If you're not a Saiyan, you don't matter.
Yeah.
Except for Hercule Satan to some extent, but which I do like that aspect of this story. But again, if you're not a Saiyan, you don't matter.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3, again, ultimately amounts to nothing. He doesn't even use it to defeat Kid Buu, so it just shows up to be cool and a drain on his energy. They even wish him to have more power again, and it still can't. I like that they do. It means they have to find an alternate way than just a beat down to beat Buu.
Yeah.
Because, again, a lot of the fight where he's at Super Saiyan 3 versus Kid Buu is very well choreographed. There's very little reused animation. It is a really good fight.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I do disagree about Super Saiyan 3. I think it does. I think it does serve a really good purpose. Even if Goku absolutely could have beaten Fat Buu right then and there, but like the point is that he didn't want to beat Buu and then leave everyone unprepared for the next time this happens, and he isn't there, you know?
But he can talk through King Kai.
Yeah, well, he's not the smartest. But also, like, are you gonna try to describe that dance? That'd be awkward.
But I don't know. I don't know what the next threat would be. Like, obviously, Super and GT happen in different timelines, but it's like how much that would have happened, kind of thing. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'll accept your argument for Super Saiyan 3 to some extent.
And I've heard the people complaining, oh, we don't really get to see Super Saiyan 3 earned, so it doesn't mean anything. But like it's a different thing because it's to show how far Goku has gone in the afterlife. So Super Saiyan 3 is like a mystical thing too.
That Gotenks achieves in less than, like, in basically, what is it, months of training? Weeks? I don't even know.
I think the moral of the story is Gotenks ruins
everything.
Gotenks
is terrible. Some of his techniques are fun. I will give it that.
Yeah.
The Super Ghost Kamikaze attack and his, like, Halo thing
are
legitimately fun techniques. I like them.
Yeah. And I really like his design in his base form with the shock of purple hair in the back.
Yeah. It's a good design. Now, one thing I will say against Super Saiyan 3, I think I said, like, it's honestly, I wasn't sure if it was a pro or a con that it ended up not mattering in the, like, being the final thing, because it did mean it wasn't just a transformation wins the day, like against Frieza or Cell.
Yeah.
And I guess my next thing I said was like, but why was it even introduced? Yeah,
and it's also a really good way for Vegeta to see that and get mad, and then at the end see Goku at Super Saiyan 3 and go, man, he really has just surpassed me in every conceivable way.
Toriyama completely forgot Super Saiyan 2 existed in this arc. Yeah. Despite it being earlier in the arc.
Yeah.
Twice. Because Gohan achieves Super Saiyan 2 again, and it fails. Which is a big moment, because that's what defeated Cell.
You know, I don't think I like Super Saiyan 2.
I mean, it's whatever, but the fact is it exists.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a really big moment for Gohan in the Cell Saga.
It is, yeah.
But I guess, at that point, I didn't feel like it was another Super Saiyan transformation. Yeah, I thought it was the combination of, like, his inner strength that made it that way. Yeah, and then Goku and Vegeta just go Super Saiyan 2 later.
Yeah, Gohan becoming a true Super Saiyan rather than what it was before, which was you know, like it was the golden hair, but it was still basically his hair. You know, it didn't spike up like Goku's
Oh
did.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's. I just brought up an argument against the Buu saga. Look what you made me do.
I mean, you already have Gotenks fighting against it, so.
You're right.
Basically, there's a lot of really great standout moments in this that bring up, in my opinion, a rather mediocre arc.
Yeah.
But it's a case of positives bringing up an arc versus, like, negatives dragging down an arc.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. I feel that it's negatives dragging down possibly the best arc.
I mean, yeah, to each their own.
Yeah. can't believe our opinions are different.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah. We're doing this. This is so much more interesting now that our opinions are different. We're actually having a conversation.
How dare we? What's your next arc?
So number 6 is Peel Off for me.
That's fair.
It feels very unique among Dragon Ball because
very true.
Because it is before the stuff Dragon Ball kind of found its identity. So it is kind of just a fun little adventure thing, but retroactively, it's fun to see where it all came from, you know?
Yes, and I remember watching this when I only kind of knew about Z. Like, I was watching it, but it was like watching it every day on Toonami, so I hadn't seen that much of it. And walking into a Blockbuster, I see Dragon Ball. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
More Dragon Ball Z? Great. And then I see like Goku as a kid and the introduction of Yamcha and things like that. I'm like, this is super weird, but I like it.
I will actually say that this has one of Roshi's worst moments, actually.
Oh,
asking.
See, I always forget about this moment because it gets censored so much in earlier like dubs of it that I don't even think about it.
Yeah, asking Bulma to flash him when she's like 16.
Yeah, to be fair, the age of consent is younger in Japan.
Yeah.
But it is...
That doesn't make it weird. That less weird.
I know. It's just, it's a cult, like... Yeah, like... It's yeah.
I suppose it is a cultural thing. It's still,
I'm not saying it's a good thing. And it is uncomfortable. I'm just saying, like, it's a little... little more of a pass. I'm not saying it's a full pass. I'm saying I have a little bit of leniency because Bulma's age is of the age of consent, I believe. And again, I have different memories of this scene because in a dub version, you don't see the scene where Goku, in his naivety, removes her panties. So Roshi's asking to see her belly button. And so she would, like, the version I see, she'd still be wearing her underwear.
Yeah.
Super weird. I'm not saying any of that's better. I'm just saying, like, I have a slightly less creepy version of it in my head when I think back on it. But you're right. It is a pretty bad Roshi moment.
But on positives, I feel like the world design is really strong in this particular arc. Also some more of my favorite jokes. Like
I need to put this one higher. I forgot about the bunny, the what is his mob boss, Carrot or something like that.
Oh
yeah. I that guy gets punched the moon. He's dead twice to make mochi up there.
But Goku bringing Sea Turtle a bucket of seawater, and then he drinks it, and they talk about it like it's wine.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's a number 6. No, number 7. I can tell.
I love how in pretty much every single different iteration, there's a different joke of what Roshi's gift for Goku is gonna be. Like, magic carpet. I think it's in the cleaners. Or undying phoenix. Oh, I think that one died. And then one of my favorite jokes is, Goku talks about, the giant ape monster. And they realize that it's Goku. And Bulma goes, Goku, don't look at the moon
behind you.
It's right there. And she points at it, so Goku turns around and looks at it.
And there's this brief moment where nothing happens, but then Goku starts going through the transformation. Also, Yamcha Wolfang fists a rock into a sword.
Yeah, that was weird.
And it doesn't work, so Poir just turns into scissors. You also see Goku and Yamcha punch a lot of dogs.
What is this, JoJo? That'll make more sense to you in a bit.
Mai, Shu, and Pilaf are fun villains at this point in the story.
Yeah.
They get bad later. I don't like them in the King Piccolo saga. I don't like the couple times I think there's one time they show up a little later that's kind of fun when they're in like their mech suits for the first time.
Yeah, that's at the end of the Red Ribbon Army arc.
Yeah. That time's not that bad, but...
Yeah.
Because I like moments like that because they show like a growth. Like Goku can finally beat these guys, and weirdly Goku takes Shu's clothes at that point. It is at the end of it because he's in those clothes during... like on their way to like Baba's or something.
Yeah, and also no, because that was after because they had the last Dragon Ball in a lead box so that the Dragon Radar couldn't find it.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and their plan was we figured out Goku's weakness. It's his tail, but Gohan had ripped off the tail. Yeah.
Also, there's a later reveal. I think it's in the second tournament that I didn't bring up. I like that Goku has trained the weakness out of his tail.
Yeah, well, to be fair, you have gotten to that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So yeah, Hunt for the Dragon Balls, Pilaf.
It is a good arc. Part of me, it was weird placing that so low because I know on a different day I would place it higher.
Yeah.
And a lot of these could be like reordered at any time, but this is going to be like basically the basic idea of how these lists would probably end up on an average.
Yeah.
My next arc is King Piccolo.
All right.
This was the first time, in my opinion, that the story really got serious. Like most of the time before this, it's all like, let's go on a fun adventure and hunt the Dragon Balls. Like, let's train to get stronger to fight in a tournament. But it literally starts with Krillin dying.
It does. I would say that I feel like the first time it gets really serious is actually the TN tournament. But that's just how I feel.
I think that's kind of like it is kind of the start of it, but like that's and that part of it with like Krillin dying is literally where like these two intersect.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I was watching Dragon Ball on Toonami, it stopped with Goku finding Krillin dead.
Yeah.
And then like restarted, and I was so mad.
Yeah, and I will definitely give this arc credit that death here definitely feels the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it really does because of something else I'm going to get to later. But first of all, like, you see a lot of the characters from past tournaments get killed.
Yeah.
So, like, even characters... Like, there's a couple that don't really matter. Like, I think you see King Choppa briefly, and you don't know much about him. But you see... I don't remember if Nam gets killed or he gets saved. But I know Monster Beast Giran gets killed.
I think Nam does get killed because he was, like... He was easy pickings. He was in the hospital because Tien got him first.
Oh, I forgot he was even in the second arc.
Yeah.
You see another glimpse into Roshi's past, which I enjoy the glimpses. There's one bit in here. Like, I like the idea of the episode that ends up more at the end of the arc when Goku's learning Ki. So he goes to, like, learn from Master Mutaito,
they say in the dub.
Something like that. But I really like the introduction where you see him and Roshi and the Crane Hermit going against King Piccolo in the flashback.
Yeah.
It adds some history, some world building.
Yeah.
You see that Roshi and the Crane Hermit were allies, even despite them being, like, such enemies. Yeah. Even if they didn't like each other, they worked together at one point. And it's... I don't know. It's that part... I just really like seeing Roshi's past. Because you don't get a lot of it.
Yeah. I also... Excuse me. I will also say... there is still the Dragon Ball goofiness here. And I think one of the best bits is how Piccolo was trapped in a pretty little pink rice cooker.
Mm-hmm. I think originally he's trapped in a jar.
No, originally he's trapped in the pink bunny rice cooker.
Oh, that's right. Roshi.
Yeah, that's what Roshi traps him in. Or was it Butaito who trapped him?
He would have trapped him the first time. And I think Roshi, it's not a pink one, but I think he also tries to put him in a rice cooker.
Yeah.
Which seems odd. Like, why would you pick that again? But I guess, you know, you pick what works.
Yeah. It's what he had.
Roshi and Chaozu die, proving again Chaozu is pointless.
Yeah.
Piccolo sending... Like, he's literally sending chaos into the world. Like, people are following this, like... just this chaos emitting from Piccolo. It reminds me of, like, did you ever read the Maximum Carnage Spider-Man comics?
I did.
Where Carnage is literally just by existing, making people, like, more evil. King Piccolo has a little bit of a vibe like that. It's not quite like that, but it's similar.
Yeah, he's more like the Joker.
A little bit.
I am King Piccolo, and I decree we live in a society. And Piccolo also killing Shenlong.
Yeah, I was getting
to that. Or Shenron. Yeah. Whichever you want to say.
We have the introduction of Yajirobe. I really like the plan to capture King Piccolo, and it looks like it's going to work, but fails. Let's see. It does. It kind of sucks that the whole reason it fails is just because Roshi missed the bottle.
Yeah.
It's a little unfortunate that, you died because you missed... I mean, he was going to die anyway, I think. Yeah. Because, like, how much energy that uses based on their bodies at the time.
Yeah.
I do like how the Mafaba comes back in Super, and, like, he just uses it to put people in bottles and throw off the edge.
Yeah.
It's a cute little nod, and shows how powerful they've gotten over the time. It's weird, but I like it. I straight up like the reason that it doesn't work is it builds up this tension that it's kind of sad that you kind of know at this point that Goku's going to be the only person to stop him.
Yeah.
But I really like the climax between Goku and King Piccolo.
And I also do kind of like how there's a long stint in that arc where they all think Goku's dead.
They do.
And so, like, they don't think that...
There's a moment where Tambourine finds Yamcha at the Kame house, and Yamcha's leg is broken at this point.
Yeah.
And you just see them, like, basically square up. Like, Tambourine has... Like, he doesn't square up, but Yamcha's ready to fight, essentially.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, here goes Yamcha. And the only reason Yamcha basically isn't killed is because I think Piccolo calls Tambourine back to come do something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, that would have been another loss for Yamcha. Like, you just know. Because, like, how would Yamcha win? He's got a broken leg, and even without that, he would have lost.
Yeah. There was a moment seeing that where I was like, oh, is this where Yamcha's scars come from?
Yeah, you never see that.
Yeah.
You see where Tien gets his scar.
Yeah.
You never see Yamcha get his.
Yeah, and it makes Tien's scar all the cooler, because it's got meaning to it.
I feel like they just tried to make Yamcha look cooler.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. I mean, I guess it kind of worked. I don't really like the bit where Goku is trying to get the mystic water, but it is kind of a precursor to Goku's return from Snake Way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that same kind of vibe. It's just not done as well. And yeah, Piccolo blows up Shenron, which is crazy, and at that moment makes the stakes crazy high for everybody, because you don't know that Shenron can come back.
Yeah.
You know nothing about how the Dragon Balls actually work at that point. And you do get a little bit of it at the end, which I feel like as the series goes on, the Dragon Balls get more and more demystified.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, seeing as the show is called Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But...
And then Super tries to remystify them in a way that I thought was really dumb.
No, it is, and I can't argue that. And that's honestly, that's about it. Basically what we've all covered before when we were talking about it on yours. And
yeah,
I just think it was the first time the show felt like it had real stakes for me. Tien, there's a little bit, but Tien is one of those weird proto-villains where he's mean. He's just a mean guy. Oh man, when I reviewed the Broly movie on the Entertaining X channel on after the credits episode, I go into like all the times a villain becomes good, and there's a lot of them. You can go back to you can count Yamcha if you want to. I don't. Yeah. That one doesn't count for me. But Tien is kind of that turning point. You get Yamcha, you get Tien, you get Piccolo, you get Android 18, you get all of these people. Eventually, you get 17. Yeah. I didn't even count that one. I think even Majin Buu. It gets to be a lot. Anyway, what's your next one?
Well, my number 5 is the first tournament arc. Okay. Jackie Chun.
I'm surprised you have so many more Dragon Ball arcs above my Dragon Ball arcs.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
But I guess it's also just that I have so much problems with the Cell Saga.
That is fair.
Yeah, I guess there's not much to say other than I didn't really have many notes for this particular arc, but every other note on this is I love Nam.
Nam is good.
The Bacterian fight was pretty funny.
It is. It's a good. It unfortunately it sets up a little bit of the trope of Krillin can't actually win.
Yeah. Yeah, but
it's at least a cute fight, and Goku's like, "You don't even have a nose."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. At that point, you're just kind of acknowledging that's a weird design thing that he doesn't have a nose.
Yeah.
But they straight up say he doesn't have a nose, and you're like, oh.
But yeah, I guess I don't have much else to say. It's just a fun tournament arc.
Mm-hmm. It is. I really enjoy that arc a lot, but I already covered all those reasons. My next arc is the Piccolo Jr. arc. Obviously, King Piccolo introduced elements of what would become Z, but this one really shows, it's got the first energy beam that can be controlled.
Yeah.
Krillin invents that, actually, or invents it. At this point, everybody learns how to fly. Mm-hmm. So you get air battles at that point instead of just Tien being able to fly. And I guess Chaozu could also fly.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's still only just Goku. Krillin and Yamcha still can't fly.
I think they say they learned the Skydance technique. I think they say specifically that Tien taught it to them.
Huh. I didn't remember that.
I could be misremembering that, but I feel like I remember that specific piece of dialogue.
Yeah, I thought they actually learned it from Kami.
I don't think so. Again, I could be wrong, but at this point in the series, yes, they can fly, but they're not. It's not a super fast thing. It's more of it's more like a levitation kind of thing.
Yeah, it's actually kind of generally faster to go back on the ground and move around that way.
I feel like flight doesn't become a speedy form of transport until, or especially a consistent one, until Goku's on Snake Way.
Yeah.
You see Piccolo flying next to Goku on their way to Raditz.
Yeah.
Goku's on the Nimbus at that point.
Yeah.
Which means the Nimbus at that point is faster than they can fly.
Yeah. But Piccolo also says that, oh no, it's not the same technique.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It's a special demon kind of flying.
Oh. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Or it's the same technique and somebody came up with a different name.
I think it was just an explanation from Toriyama of why he's able to keep up with the Nimbus.
That could be. I don't know. Because, yeah, you see Goku flying on Snake Way at one point.
Yeah.
But it's really inconsistent. Because sometimes he's jumping from bit to bit, sometimes he's flying, and sometimes he's running.
Yeah, he starts off flying, but that's too exhausting. So he starts jumping, and then he's like...
He almost falls off, and then he...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he starts running.
I don't know. That part always seemed weird to me. It was why not just sit there for a little bit and then fly again? But anyway,
he's impatient.
Yeah, I guess so. The element of I wasn't sure if this included in the King Piccolo or the Piccolo Jr. arc, but I like the story of the power pole. I like that it was something I think it was given to Roshi, then given to by Korin, then given to Gohan, then given to Goku.
Yeah.
And you finally figure out what this thing is actually.
Yeah.
And it's a way to get up to God, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, Kami is God. So.
Yeah. It's so weird, though, because, like, he is, but he isn't. And then you get to, like, King Yama, and you're like, that's God. It's not. And then you get to the King Kai, like, that's God. He's not.
I think it's ultimately us trying to push our Western perspective on it, you know?
You might be right. We might be looking too far into something that, for one thing, isn't a fantasy world.
Yeah.
And for another thing, is a fantasy world developed by a Japanese culture.
Yeah. Based on Journey to the West, which had a lot of stuff with gods just popping in and out, absolutely mortal, but they're kind of on their own plane, sort of, and overlooking everything. But also, Sun Wukong could just kick all their butts.
You've got the element of Goku trying to become the strongest fighter. Like, it was always there, but it really becomes apparent during this arc.
Yeah.
To this point, I should say, like, let's see, you see Ma Junior slinking around people's houses, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like, you see him, like, eat a raw fish and, like, go into people's homes and, like, like...
Makes sure not to hurt anyone, though. Behold this terrifying villain. Watch as he saves a child.
I think you see Piccolo's first kind of meditation training during this, too, when he's... I think he, like, the little kid Piccolo is out on the water meditating.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. I like the training that Popo puts Goku through.
Yeah.
The try and do this without ringing the bell kind of thing. And then I like the fighting yourself idea. Yeah. It's done in Star Wars too, but it's always a fun fighting against, like, what you know and learning from your mistakes and your strengths, honestly.
Oh, actually, I going back to Tournament 1 real quick. I have one really big criticism of it, and it's just like, who is Jackie Chun anyway? Why can he do the Kamehameha? I thought Roshi made that, you know? Yeah. It's kind of weird.
But of course Roshi made it, but Jackie Chun's is different.
Right. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
The stuff with Tien and Tao while short is really good.
Oh, absolutely. I loved that a lot.
Again, I really like the bit with the fight between Krillin and Piccolo, even if he loses. Goku has... I like that we get a fight between Goku and Tien as well. Yeah. Because you see, like, Tien is never really has the advantage over Goku. There's a couple times where it almost seems that way. Yeah. But Goku... Does he take his weighted clothing off during this bit, or is it just against Piccolo?
Yeah, it's during this fight, because so. Tien is starting to win, and he's like, for all your training, you didn't get any faster. And Goku's like, all right, Kami, I'm taking them off now.
The gloves are off. Yeah. And it really shows the progression of Goku at this point. Like, you see a little bit of it when Tien can't beat Piccolo, but Goku can. Yeah. But, like, really pitting those two against each other for, like, how evenly matched, and really even Tien feeling stronger most of the time against Goku. Yeah. You see this point in Goku having the upper hand almost the whole time. Because I don't think he even... I think Tien makes a point of it, saying that Goku never used a Kamea Wave during the fight. He says... I never had a chance. Goku never used like that technique against me.
Yeah. Also, this arc is the only time Goku does a Kamehameha with his feet.
Truth. But it's not necessarily the weirdest Kamehameha. Yeah. I think that belongs in the Frieza saga.
Oh yeah, just the two
torpedoes. And at first people thought that was just a dub thing, but it's not. It's in the manga. Yeah. It's a canon version to use the Kamea Wave, I guess. And it's weird. And I also like the added stakes during this arc with killing Piccolo swallows Kami in the jar.
Yeah.
So Goku cannot kill Piccolo, because if he does, that means Kami's dead, and there's also no more Dragon Balls. So, yeah, Goku just really wants to win this tournament legally, and I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fight between Goku and Piccolo is, in my opinion, one of the highlights of the franchise.
Yeah.
It's a really good fight, and it's weird that Piccolo doesn't stay evil for very long, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like it. I feel like this the Goku and Piccolo fight also ends kind of lacklusterly, where it's just a big headbutt. But that seemed to happen a lot.
I was gonna say that kind of falls in tone with the rest of the arcs, though.
That's true.
Like, Roshi and Goku literally finished their... Jackie Chun and Goku finished their fight with, all right, let's rush at each other with one good kick.
Yeah.
And it was his way of saying, like, I'm not going to win this. The only way I'm going to win this is because my legs are longer.
Yeah, you know what? I take that back. I actually kind of do like the big headbutt at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That is
that
something.
last.
Yeah, that is something that kind of differentiates it from how things go in Z, where they all get beaten by a beam except Vegeta.
Well, really, nobody gets beaten by a beam.
Frieza gets beaten by the beam.
Does he?
Yeah. Cell gets beaten by the beam.
Cell does get beaten by a beam. I can't argue with that. You could argue that Kid Buu kind of gets beaten with a beam.
Yeah.
Does Frieza get beaten by a beam?
You shall die by my hand, you fool!
I don't count that as the victory, though. The victory is when Frieza cuts himself in half.
Fair enough.
Frieza's done at that point. That last bit is Goku being like, here, I'll give you a little bit of energy. I'm a nice guy. Just don't do it again. So I don't count that last blast as the victory.
Even if it is a great moment.
It's a good moment because Frieza's stupid. That's all I really have to say about the Piccolo Jr. arc. We've covered it kind of in yours. I was just kind of hitting the highlights that I liked.
And then my number 4 is Boo.
I was actually expected it to be higher.
Nope, it's my number 4. A lot of people say that this one feels like more of a mess, but it feels a bit more cohesive than the androids for me.
I can see your arguments for that.
Like at least there is a logical leap from the Saiyaman stuff to the tournament stuff to the Boo stuff.
You're right. There is.
And the seeds are planted before and not just going hard left into it. And ultimately, I think that the way that this arc progresses, it's very fitting of a series. Like, it's not as 3-act as the rest of the arcs, and I give it a lot of points for shaking it up in that and sort of playing to its strengths of a serialized story more.
I like that it brings it back a little bit to the mystical roots.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it because it's kind of alien stuff, but it really does bring it back to the like.
Yeah, but Boo seems more like a genie or like a cartoon character, which makes him work so much better, and he's a good contrast to Frieza and Cell.
Dear Kami, is he the genie from Aladdin? The answer is no.
No. Toriyama definitely had more control in this one, which showed for better and for worse.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Boo was a really great villain. A lot of people don't like Boo, and I just don't see their points.
I don't think Boo is a bad villain. I will never argue that point. I think everything surrounding Boo is a mess. The whole Bobbity spaceship thing feels like this big build that basically should have just ended up with them, like... I get what it's kind of trying to do, but none of the villains in there are a threat. Devore is a little bit of a threat, but even Vegeta's like, I could take on this guy. Gohan just hasn't been training. He's terrible. And I honestly believe him.
it's kind of funny that they're saying Tabora's not a threat when it's like, this guy is actually a bit stronger than Cell.
Which is weird to me, because he doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's power scaling,
but Cell doesn't feel super strong either.
I think Cell does feel strong. But again, like, you have your problems with Cell, so...
I mean, it's also just sort of, with Cell, like, the way the scale goes. Like, Frieza, he's like cutting holes through the entire planet is like just show of force. And then when Cell does it, I'm gonna take out that little bit of this army with the kind of a boom.
Oh, are you talking about like when the things are like when the people are coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly forgot about that.
I'm gonna blow a little bit of a hole in this mountain. Remember when King Piccolo did that? But yeah, but Boo, I feel like is a good is a escalation of like even what Frieza did, where Boo like gets angry and then he screams and then the horizon is gone.
Not just that, he literally screams a hole into a dimension.
Yeah. Boo is terrifying in that he like turns things into food and then eats them. Even when he's like trying to be nice, he turns someone into milk for that blind kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's... I actually really like that bit of Boo not knowing what to do with himself after Babidi.
Yeah, and the way he kills Babidi is like really violent and horrifying.
He chops him in half, doesn't he?
No, Piccolo does that. What he does is that he chokes Babidi so that he can't like say his magic words, and then he like punches the top half of his head off, and his tongue is like waggling out.
Wow, I've not seen that in a long time. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
It was probably censored in the original broadcast in America, so that's probably why I can't think of it.
Oh, certainly.
I watched it on disc not too long ago. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention during that part.
I also find Super Boo very threatening, especially at the start. How he's still acting like Fat Boo, but like he looks so much more threatening, and his dub voice like just Boo want candy. That's upsetting. And the genocide attack.
Yeah. I always thought the like evil Boo, the kind of gray one, was a weird addition though.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why would expelling your evil and then that evil absorbing the thing you were just expelled from make you stronger? I mean, I guess that argument could be made for Piccolo too, but he literally gets weaker when he divides himself in half. So
yeah, it's also the like the evil is now taking over completely, and
I kind of get the metaphor. I don't understand the logic though.
Well, thankfully it's magic, so it doesn't need the
metaphor.
Of course. So the metaphor.
So it doesn't have to be explained.
Yeah, the metaphor is what matters because he's a magical being.
I mean, you're not wrong. There's a lot like. Also, can we just say before we go any further, even though we're very far into this now, power scaling in Dragon Ball, the franchise, is very odd.
It is. And
I know why it has to be, because at later points in the series, they'd be going so fast, literally nobody could keep up with anything.
Yeah.
And it's more impressive to, like, show things that you understand blowing up than it is universes blowing up.
Yeah, but...
So don't get me wrong, Kid Buu going through and just destroying planets later in the arc is frightening. Although it does bring up the point, like, the afterlife is just somewhere further in space.
Yeah.
Like, how does he get there?
But
I think he kind of learns instant transmission somehow.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from with, like, relatable scale destruction, but I feel like the unrelatable scale of destruction is what makes it scary.
Some of it. There's, like, there has to be the relatable for the unrelatable to matter.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they always make it seem like blowing up a mountain is impressive, despite the fact that we've seen planets blow up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it always works. I'm just saying that's why they kind of keep trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I also feel like, I feel like Goku doesn't really take the reins until old Kai gives up his life back for Goku. I feel like that is when it's sort of like, okay, Goku is absolutely the main character again.
Yeah.
Obviously, the writing was on the wall before, but part of the reason I like the Super Saiyan 3 introduction so much is that Goku still kind of feels like a side character. Like, he's just part of the ensemble.
He feels like he's there to slow down Boo while everybody else can...
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, and I get that. That makes sense. But it just feels undermined by the fact that Goku comes in and wins the day.
Yeah. Yeah, this is ultimately an arc for me that is a fantastic arc weighed down by some really bad stuff. Like Gotenks and how Gohan was handled and how Videl just kind of leaves when she is...
That's so unfortunate. I actually really like the character of Videl.
Videl is one of my favorite characters, absolutely. Yeah. She is fantastic.
The beatdown of her and Spopovich is one of the most brutal things in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
On both sides. She literally turns his neck around, and you think he's dead, and then Spopovich just beats Videl down, and they keep trying to call it off, and he just keeps beating her, and it's terrible.
Yeah, there is kind of an uncomfortable sexism thing with that.
You can definitely interpret that.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
because they're all going like, oh no, don't stop it, and like there's the implication of like, well, she signed up for this, she isn't backing down. Like, she explicitly stops herself from getting knocked in the ring out and goes back in. But there's also the thing of like such the hard shift. Of course, the one time that this happens where it goes into like picking her up by the hair and knocking her teeth out and breaking her nose. Of course, the one time this happens is when it's a woman.
Yeah, Toriyama does not know how to write women.
Yeah.
One of the only badass characters is 18, and she doesn't even do anything. So
no, and it makes no sense because they send Krillin off when it's like she's stronger than a Super Saiyan.
Yeah, she's way stronger than Krillin. She's probably as strong as Piccolo at that point.
Yeah.
Roughly around the same strength anyway, because Piccolo was as strong as 17. 17 probably would have eventually won because 17 gets tired, even though they say they can't get tired. It's super weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, 17 eventually would have won because Piccolo had the upper hand at first, but he was like, see, and I don't get tired, so you're eventually going to lose anyway. So
yeah. But that wasn't the whole point of that fight. He was definitely... Piccolo knew he was doomed, but he had to give time for everybody to do what they needed to do.
Yeah, and try to get at least one of the androids so Cell can't get his way. Yeah, it's dragged down by just Toriyama choosing the worst possible time for a tone shift to lighthearted. Just the worst possible time.
Yeah.
Boo had just killed every person, and Trunks had just seen Vegeta die. Goten had just seen Chi-Chi die, and then when he goes into the hyperbolic time chamber, we've been waiting for you, Majin Buu.
I didn't even mention another part that killed me when watching this on TV.
Yeah.
The arc ends, or the broadcast ended with Vegeta blowing up, and that it was a really good moment, but Boo is gone potentially.
Yeah.
Like Vegeta might have won, and you see the next time on Dragon Ball Z, and like Boo's reforming, and then it just goes back to the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. Like, hello. Yeah, Vegeta has a really good arc during that.
Yeah,
probably his best growth.
Oh yeah, this whole the entire Buu saga, Vegeta finally completes his arc, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love Vegeta in this arc. I love just the simple blue look on him, no armor. Vegito is awesome.
He is really cool. He's only in like 4 episodes total.
Yeah,
and he's super memorable.
He is super memorable. He's like he's like almost Dante levels of cocky, but it's still very measured and it's for a point.
Yeah.
Like you get the feeling that he is like the ultimate warrior.
Mm-hmm. And like I like the bit of Old Kai saying the fact that they're rivals only makes their fusion stronger.
Yeah.
It's a nice little line that doesn't really amount to a whole lot, but it's nice to hear.
Yeah, the only problem I have with Vegito is that he should have been called Gogeta, because that's a much better name.
Well, there's a whole story behind Vegito's name.
Yeah,
it's super convoluted.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think that they were already working on the movie for Fusion Dance Goku and Vegeta, and like, all right, well that's got to be Gogeta, right? So like, and then Toriyama's like, well, I guess I'll figure out another way of fusion.
Well, I think in the manga originally it was supposed to be Vegirot.
That's what the Viz translation is. It is Vegito in the Japanese because Goku's Saiyan name in Japanese is Kakaroto.
Oh, that's right. So it translates better in Japanese than it does in English.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation like that because Vegito doesn't really make sense for it to be his name in English.
No, unless it's Kakaroto.
Yeah.
So yeah, ultimately, great arc that kind of gets dragged down. I do have one more really big problem with it, actually, and that's that at the start, Toriyama doesn't really seem to know what he wants to do. Like, we're following Gohan, and then there's like these two unrelated superheroes, and like, you know, you got the Golden Warrior. It's like, oh, that seems interesting. Is that like another Super Saiyan? Like, I can't wait for Gohan to meet him. But then he just kind of disappears, and like you get the Great Saiyan Man, and it's like, oh, is that actually the Golden Warrior? Because Saiyan Man, so it's like, but he's way cooler. It's weird.
He's
you know?
way cooler.
He's way cooler.
Oh yeah. Also, the episode with Gohan playing baseball.
Oh, it's so
something
good.
About the Dragon Ball franchise and baseball really works for some reason.
Yeah.
It's also, I feel like superpowers in baseball really works for some reason because while like I've seen the first Twilight movie and that movie's bad, but there's a fun baseball scene in it that it doesn't drive the plot or anything, but you see these people running super fast, throwing super hard like fastballs and like knocking things away and jumping super high, and it's like, this is fun. Can this be the movie?
Yeah, there was also sort of something like that in JoJo.
I think it should be in more things, honestly.
I don't know if it really counts because they're playing a baseball video game.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. But all I'm saying is more superpowered baseball in things.
Yeah.
It's good.
Or superpowered basketball.
I can see that, yeah.
I think that could be cool, too.
I think, honestly, maybe not football. I don't know what you would do with football. Superpowered soccer might be neat, though. Superpowered golf.
Oh, and it looks like for this shot, he is becoming a Super Saiyan.
And the ball is disintegrated.
That is going to be a foul.
Are you done?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with Buu. Buu arc was also the first arc that I got into Dragon Ball Z, so there is also that bias.
But Kendall, is that your broom?
Thank you, Dub Dende.
Also, Dende kind of ended up being a little bit of a disappointment. He's just there so they can have Dragon Balls.
Pretty much.